Okay, malo, polos and pollets. Today I'll be interviewing also Jay Laga'aia. Okay, so for all you guys out there, you might have seen him. There's been over 60 TV
60
movies.
Charges with the police. Alleged.
Alleged, eh? Always alleged.
Yeah.
So let's go. Why the name Jay? Where did you get the?
Jay is actually a nickname.
Yeah.
Because my Samoan name is Manila.
Manila.
Yeah, that's from my father's side.
The killer from Manila.
Yeah, the thriller in Manila. And Jay was always a nickname that one of my teachers, my Māori teachers, actually gave me.
Yeah.
You know, during the era when they had good times, you know, they had that JJ.
Yeah.
You know, keep down on my.
Yeah.
So I got the nickname JJ.
Yeah.
And then you know, like most island families, my cousin, who I'm named after, their family I'm named after, took my father's car and smashed it. And then my father said, I don't want to hear that name ever again. And then all of a sudden, the nickname became real. So that is actually my real name now.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been my name since I was at school.
Sweet. Your earliest childhood memory?
Good
one.
The
good one.
Yeah, my mum. I grew up in South Auckland, but Auckland Central is where I grew up in John Street, Ponsonby.
Yeah.
And my mum tells a story, and I remember it vaguely, where they went down to the wharf, and I think it was just to get fish and stuff from the markets down there.
Yeah.
And my brother was pushing me in a pram, and my brother is a year older than me. I think I was 2 at the time, and he was maybe 3, and he was just holding onto the pram, and he wanted to see the water. But like an idiot, I was in front of him. And so my sister tells the story vividly of my brother screaming and a couple of sailors running and catching, because he had front wheels off the side of the wharf and 2 wheels. I just going, ah! And I'm sitting there just going, whatever, man.
Whatever.
Little do I know, years after that, I'll be working on the water and water rats. But yeah, that's my earliest memory. That's why I never trust my older brother.
Great series, Water Rats. We enjoyed it. Your favorite mum's cookie?
My favorite, it would have to be her panipopos, coconut buns. My mum used to make them with extra. We used to go old school and go out the back and cut the coconuts in half, and then valu popo, and then we
all did.
And then make the coconut milk that way, and then I always remember making it for church, and she'd always make an extra batch for us, because she said Jesus has enough.
That was one of my favourites. There was also suafa'i.
Yeah.
Oof.
And that's the thing is, it's interesting. I've been in this country since '95, and it never occurred to me until I started training with the boys, with you boys, is that why don't I make my own food? Because you crave about, I crave this and I crave that, and you go out to try and find some island food in that.
Yeah.
But then you realize really quickly, well, I know how to make this stuff. What's stopping me from making this stuff? And so, over the last 2 years or so, I've started making my own sapasui, and and my kids turn their nose up. Their mother side of the family. I said, well, then you'll start.
So you say you met up with us, the Kiwi Daddys CSP. Tell us about the Kiwi Daddys movement.
Yeah.
And how you got to meet the ragtag CSP boys.
I think Tyrone and them, they started it, and I think I was invited fairly early on in the piece to be part of it, and I quite like the idea of catching up. And then I don't know how I ended up at Concord, but I ended up at Concord training there about 4 years ago, maybe.
Yeah, with your boys.
Yeah, with my boys. Yeah. And then and it was hard. That was, and I think the mentality always was, when you went there, it was about a training session. And what I realize now, it's about sort of a gathering. It's about checking in every Sunday. So when you do that, you don't mind getting up early in the morning. You make allowances to make sure that you get up early in the morning to turn up to training. And I think the great thing about Kiwi Daddys is that we're a forum that helps each other. You know, we suggest things. You know, we're over 70,000 strong. You know, and I remember I got roped into doing, you know, I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here in the jungle.
Yeah.
And I remember vividly going this, you know, we were doing a live feed.
Yeah.
And I remember going, this may be my only time to throw up a sign. So I threw up a KD sign at the end of this, at the end of this conversation, because I knew I'll send a sign out to the boys from South Africa.
Yeah. And we were all watching. We were like, oh yeah, Malo Jay, represent. What school did you go to?
I went to Viscount Primary School, Arahanga Intermediate School, and Maunga College. And so I went to school from 77 through to 81. Yeah, I went to school to eat other people's lunches.
Any shout out to teachers?
Memorable son of a bitch. Shout out to teachers. Listen, you should have just. I was entertaining you. That's the whole idea.
Where did you get your passion for the arts?
I think when I realized that I wasn't going to make the All Blacks, you know, I was a 100-meter and high jumper, and so I could run the 100.
Which you needed in Southside Auckland.
Yeah, it's called a fence jumper, and I could run the 100 meters in 10:8. Oof. And that's without the police chasing me. But you know, those days was very much that thing of going. Everyone wants to be an athlete because you don't want to be an academic. Yeah. You know, and in those days they call it showing off. They don't call it performance. Yeah. And so I think for me there was one time when we were in school. I was in probably 5th form, 6th form, 5th form, and a touring group from a teachers training college came to do a play in the hall, and we all sort of turned up, and there was a Samoan boy in there, Samoan guy in there, who later on became my mentor. His name was Nathaniel Lees. And you've probably seen him in The Matrix, and you know, he's been in so many different movies now. And he played Captain Mafusu. You know, he's the guy on the great big huge walking machine that's going. Yeah. And we became best of friends, you know, and he taught me a lot. But I realized that was when I realized I remember it was September the 8th, 1984. First week of rehearsals for Sweet Charity. First time I ever did theatre. And I answered an ad, and I was just in the chorus. And I remember it because I took my firstborn, and he was 4 days old. You know, because I couldn't find a babysitter. And even then I couldn't figure out why all the girls were going, oh my gosh, you know. But I took Jeremy, and he was in the rehearsal room with me, and that was when I sat down for the first time and I watched these two actors in a rehearsal room transform it into the Fandango ballroom. And you know, and George Henare, who's this amazing Māori performer, I was sweating. All of a sudden I saw the ballroom, I saw, you know, all the dancers, I didn't see them in their plain clothes. And I turned around and everybody was watching, but that was the epiphany for me. That was when I went, this is what I want. I don't know how to get it, but this is what I need. So, and that's when I started really focusing on my craft, and I've been doing it since nearly 40 years now.
So did you also do the Lokameki, the White Sunday plays?
White Sunday.
The unpaid gigs.
We had a family. We had a family band with 2 Palangis in it. And Palangis got the money and we got the food. You know?
Which in those days was a good...
You know, it's like...
Because it took a whole lot more money to buy the food.
Is when you do those gigs, you know, they go, you know, we all get it. You know, your mother is your manager all of a sudden. Yeah, they said they're going to pay you some money. And next thing you know, go, look, they gave you $200. We got to give it to the boys over there to say thank you. But we've got a box of some Kentucky Fried and some barrel. Take it out to the car. I went, why don't we get any money? He says, we got this. Look, we got all of this. I don't know why the Palangis don't want this. You know, I know why. Because it's on butcher paper. That's why.
Your first instrument?
My first instrument was clarinet.
Wow.
I'm a clarinet and sax player. So my first instrument first instrument was clarinet, and I played clarinet for a long time. And a lot of people can relate to this in that if you've got a school that has a music teacher, my music teacher was one of the best. His name was Trevor Thwaites, drummer, jazz teacher. And he was not very good at asking for the high-rate fee on their instruments. Yeah. So that's how a lot of us learned to play was we would take these instruments. We couldn't afford to pay high-rates on them, but he would allow us to have them. And so we'd play in the bands, and that instrument became the church instrument, became the band instrument. Like, have you ever thought of singing that song with a clarinet?
That was good because, when you go to your gigs,
that's right.
the clarinet, just put it in your pocket.
He's got a B-flat clarinet. So that's very unusual. We like to play Strangers on the Shore. Very unusual.
Or those ones that played the piano. Can you help me lift the piano to all my band sessions?
Right. Nothing like getting caught. Nothing like getting caught practicing sort of chopsticks on the church piano. And then I swapped up from there, clarinet. I swapped up to sax because we were. We got the notion, we got told that we were going to do Hawaii 5-0, thing. So, I'm going to go sax. And then the music teacher handed me the music, and I went, hold on, sir, because this goes, dum, da, dum, dum, da, dum, dum, da, dum. He goes, yeah. And I go, what about, the trumpets do that. Da, 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 dum, da, dum, dum, da, dum. And I went, that's not even sexy. My brother was playing trumpet, and I went, let's go. Like, nah.
Your first acting gig. Where it was paid, let's go unpaid and paid.
Oh look, I think there's a lot of unpaid. A lot of my friends always say to me, a lot of my students say to me, when do you stop doing unpaid work? And I always say to them, when you feel like you're being used. If you're not learning anything, and you say to somebody, hey, I need to finish at 5 o'clock. I need to finish at 5 o'clock, and then they, gets to 5 o'clock, and they go, "Hey, can you stay longer?" You don't have to stay longer because they're not paying you. Yeah. And so I did a lot of, gigs. I did a lot of, school plays, and not that many school plays. But I started as a musician, so I was in a trio called the Consults, and we worked on, a lot of people. A lot of people know the E Bull album, Prince Tuiteka's. We worked on that album. So if you actually have a look at the album, you'll see on the back Yandel Sisters and the Consults. And while we were shooting that, we went into with a producer named Dalvanius Prime. He was the one that did the Partia Māori Club, Poye. We went into another studio and we put down this. It was a party song, and it was during the era. It was the '80s, so it was during the era of hooked on classics and that drum machine. And we put down a song called Māori's on 45. Everybody sing a Māori song, and then we would just do Māori songs, and we would just go up in key, and it was hilarious because we were in a 16-track in Stebbing Studio in Auckland. And every time we went up in key, we had to retune the ukulele and play. But yeah, look, I think those for me those were my earliest gigs. Wasn't acting. It was doing live gigs, playing. I was there at the formation of Arija in '79.
Betty
and Betty was she went to the same school. She was 2 years younger than me, and
they're still rocking it.
They're still rocking it now. Poly Funk. In the house.
Yeah. How did the Playskool gig come about?
I was working on.
And which window did you like?
Well, the one that opened. The toilet window. No, I was working on water rats. I started working on water rats. I left New Zealand in '95. I did the first episode of Xena. And then I flew over to Australia to do a 3-year gig with Channel 9 and Water Rats. And I've been shooting Water Rats since '95. In '99, I was approached by ABC if I'd be interested in being a new host. What I didn't realize at the time was there were lots of actors who were trying to get in on a gig. It's an actor's gig.
Yeah.
Every actor wants to do it, but not every actor can do it. So 99, I went and they said, sing a song, tell a story. And then, and so, I was doing that already with the kids anyway. So I told a story. Then I got a phone call saying, we'd love for you to be part of the ABC. And I finished up with Playskool 99 through to 2016. So my favourite window was the arched window.
The arch window.
Yeah, and and my favourite was Big Ted.
Yeah.
Because
Not Jemima?
Jemima's a lesbian. Oh yeah, sorry. You can't talk to Jemima anyway, you have to go through her agent.
Fondest memory of water rats.
Oh, look,
And we all loved watching you, bro. We all tuned in. I think it was a Thursday.
my fondest memory is always about, I lived in Balmain, down Balmain East.
Yeah.
And so there's a great big huge block of flats in Hosking Street down the bottom facing Piedmont.
Piedmont, yeah.
It's still there. And I lived on the top floor there. And so early in the morning I would come down and a taxi, water taxi would come to the back of the house.
Oh, real?
And I would
Being
jump,
real?
Yeah. And I would jump, real, you couldn't even tell. It was opposite Piedmont, so I would just jump on the back of the, come off, down, go past, there was a pool down the bottom there, and I would just jump onto the boat itself.
Can you show us how you jumped on?
Yeah. And I would jump onto the boat, and I'd get to work about 5:30. We'd get changed, we'd have lunch, we'd have breakfast, because they provide you breakfast, and then I would get on the Nemesis, and then I would pull it out into the harbour. We'd load it up with all the stuff that we're going to talk about. Our directors would tell us, this is what we're going to shoot today, and then I'd load up, and then I would pilot us out. And there's nothing like sort of riding at 6 o'clock in the morning out onto the harbour there, through the harbour, and it's great because the ferries recognised you after a while, so they toot, you toot, and it's funny because sometimes you'd be in police uniform and people would try to be zooming past and we go, oi, slow down, and they go, brr.
Water rats, he must be real.
Yeah, that's right. No, that must be police. And people always ask, why are people really nice to water policemen? And I go, well, unlike policemen on dry land, if you get a hole in your boat, you want us.
Your favourite act? Oh, so how many seasons of Water Rats?
I did 5 seasons.
5 seasons, wow.
I did 5 seasons of Water Rats, and then it was, I'm like, I'm unusual in that always at the height of my success, always when I feel like things are going really well, I will leave something. Because sometimes there are actors who will go right to the end, then the show dies off, or it loses, and then they start looking around. But for me, it's like this is the time to jump, because you get so used to a certain thing that you lose that edge. You don't have to go looking for another job because this job is coming back, and so for me, it was that thing of just going. I've been freelance, since 1982. So it's one of those things that when you look at that, you realise my mother's right. I've been unemployed for that longer period. But they don't write for my colour.
Yeah.
They don't write for brown. They don't know how to write for brown. And in this country especially, they don't know. So you can either rage against the machine, or you can try and trick them or convince them, or they look at the quality of your work. I'm about to start work on doing a guest role on Dr. Doctor. And they can look at the quality of your work, and I'm at that stage now where they'll call you because they want you for the role, not to audition, but they want you for the role. So that's always great.
That's so good. Favourite actor?
I don't really have a favourite actor, but favourite person who happens to be an actor. I've worked with him a couple of times, Sam Neill. I always thought Sam Neill was the most boring person in the world, until I found out that he also thought he was the most boring person in the world. But I realised that, he could change on a dime. I worked with him in a vampire movie called Daybreakers.
Yeah, I saw that. That was a great movie.
Oh yeah, with Willem Dafoe, Sam Neill. And at the same time, I was shooting Nim's Island with Jodie Foster and Gerard Butler. And so we would do stuff like, he'd go, let's go next door and scare Jodie, because we had our eyes and our teeth in. So we walked through and kids, and Jodie would be in her flannelette top, and she goes, Jodie, and she'd turn around and go, oh my Jesus Christ! And they'll stop, and they go, and they couldn't tell us off because I went, I'm with Sam, I'm with Jurassic Park, I'm with Event Horizon, you know, I'm with the piano. So, you know, and he was just so down to earth, just a lovely, lovely man. And I recently saw him when he was doing a talk with students and stuff, and I took my students along as well. And so it was lovely to catch up. There's nothing like actors who actually recognize you, because you know, there are a lot of people who idolize him. I really respect him. And he turned around and went, Jay, how are you? You don't expect them to sort of call you out. Yeah. I was going, yeah.
Mr. Manila.
I know the brother.
Manila.
Yeah, I know the brother. Well. So, yeah. So Sammy's high on my list.
Yeah. What about Jake the Musk?
Well, Mr. Morrison.
Mr.
Morrison, you hanging around or you? Look at this. Yeah. Okay. Bloody island. I don't have any money. Does it look like a street corner? Tim Wetter's a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
He was my best man at my wedding.
Yeah.
So, and we did Māori radio together. We did the first Māori radio, 89, 90, Aotearoa radio. And people used to ask, why is there a Samoan on a Māori radio station? And I used to say, well, you guys borrowed some canoes from us, and you yet to return. Yeah. I said, and the other thing is that my Māori's a lot better than Morrison's, because he's from Rota Vegas, Rotorua, and they'll go, because in the morning we go, Ata Māori, ko Jay Laga'aia tēnei mihi atu ki au koutou I tēnei wā, te taima I tēnei wā, rua te kau pahi mi te, and it was like, and people always used to laugh because they go, our radio station was one of those ones, you bring up and go, our birthday lines are open, we've got somebody online, hello, it says, we've got Auntie Mere, how are you? It says, I'm good, boys, can you just put a call out to my daughter, Janie? She's taking my car keys. So we just go, Janie, if you can hear us, your mum's waiting for the car keys. Don't take it back. So yeah, it was great. But yeah, I mean, and I see him every now and again. I just saw him on The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
As his character, because we both worked on Star Wars as well.
Yeah,
So yeah, for me it's always great because I have these friends who are really high up. People always go, don't you wish you were over there? It's just, I'm a father of 8. People measure successes differently. They are my success.
Yeah.
So
8 blessings.
So for me, it's always that thing of just going. If you measure success in stardom and fame, then if you want to be famous, I always say, if you want to be famous, rob a bank, because what we do is a job. What we do is 95% of our work is unpaid, and during this pandemic, it is proven that the government has no idea what we do, because we are a $113 billion industry, and we've been completely forgotten. There was a $250 million, relief package that was announced in June, I think it was.
Yeah.
Thank you, Guy Sebastian. That has yet been delivered. Nobody's got any money from that.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's that thing of going, maybe you guys, you can stay away from our red carpets. You want to rub shoulders with us, but you don't want to actually support us.
Yeah. No, good. Well, Uncle Buddha. I've seen that also on a lot of movies.
Cliff Curtis. Yeah, Cliff Curtis is he's an amazing chameleon because he can play.
Mexican,
I think the
Polynesian,
thing is that
even married.
He can
even play a married bloke.
But great philosophy, great man. I think the thing is he played Uncle Bully really, really well. But he was such a, I had spoken to him when he did Well Rider. And I said, what do you think? Because they just finished filming it. What do you think? I don't think it'll do much. And then later on he goes, man, am I a judge of good movies or what? I went, you're a shit house, man, I tell you. But look, such a down-to-earth kind of guy. I said, if they were ever going to do a movie about Osama bin Laden, bro, you. So yeah, it's great. I mean, look, it's great. And these guys aren't, a lot of people see them as stars, but we all sort of did the same gigs. We all sort of had to go through the same things itself. So I suppose that's the reason why we relate to each other, and and there's no pretenses. What you find with Australian, New Zealand actors are, we're not caught up in that whole star system because we don't have it here. It's a job. We know, and we would also understand we're really lucky to be working somewhere.
So good. You touched on your 8 kids. So you've got 8 kids.
8 kids, 3 grandchildren. Yeah, my eldest is 37. He's a translator for New Zealand Customs. He speaks fluent Japanese. He's schooled in Japan, and he's married to a lovely Japanese girl. And I have 2 granddaughters and a grandson.
So he's heard all the languages that I didn't do it.
Well,
it's not mine.
The interesting thing is that his favorite phrase to me is, "I didn't learn to speak Japanese so you can make me order in Japanese restaurants now." I go, "Just order, will you? Because we'll get the good food." And then I have a 28-year-old son who he runs his own cafe, him and his friend.
And I've had coffee there in Hammonddale.
Camperdown.
Camperdown.
Opposite the Camperdown Fitness.
Go out and check it out.
That's right, Maddie and John's. And then I've got a 22-year-old son who's about to start work on Hamilton, the musical.
My kids love Hamilton.
So it's gonna be
Wow.
huge.
What character?
Well, no, he's in the chorus.
Oh, he's in the chorus.
But they've just had their first sort of cast Zoom meeting. So I'm just excited because I was afraid that they were going to have to cancel it because of COVID. So, and then I have a 20-year-old daughter who is under 23 netball rep and also sports coordinator for St. Scholasticus. And then 18-year-old, 19-year-old son who is about to go to the con, so the music conservatorium. So he's just labouring at the moment. He's doing a gap year. And then I've got a 15-year-old daughter who's going into year 10, 14-year-old daughter who's going into year 9, and then I've got a 11-year-old daughter who is going into year 6 next year. I don't know their names, I just know their numbers. In island families, it's always best to go, "Hey, you. That's the reason that's the reason why island parents throw things, because they can't remember whoever they hit. Come here.
How do you do what you do with such a big family?
Oh, look, you have to take the responsibility that you decided to have children. Even if it was by accident, you decided to have these children. So you can cry me a river, but at the end of the day, your responsibility is to raise these children. So do what you have to do. I have sacrificed going overseas, doing other jobs, because I know that I have to be here, and I can cry and carry on, but at the end of the day, this is where my strength lies, and this is where I need, that's where you have to be responsible. So, at the end of the day, as my father always said, I want to be able to know that I can leave this earth knowing that you will be able to survive without me, and that I will leave better people. So I always say to parents, when people say my children can sing, that's on them, because they did that. But if they say your children have great manners, that's my wife and I. And you know what? I'm happy to accept that, because please and thank you will always get fed in my family. And
it's so true.
And that's the basics. When they go, how do you make great children? Just teach them to be polite, respect your elders. It's the basic stuff, and to also make parents understand that we are farmers. They are our crop. If you don't tend to the crop every single day, they will grow wild. You can't be friends with the crop, going, you can grow there if you want to. You have to be goalkeepers. Just keep throwing them into the play, but making sure, no, this is where you play, not there. And give them every opportunity to shine.
Favorite thing about being a father? And a grandfather.
Well, I think for me, my favorite thing about being a parent is seeing your teachings come to fruition. Watching them repeating stuff that you've said to them over and over again. Or asking why they're doing stuff, and they go, because of this. And exactly. Watching my children be of service, being polite to other people, helping old people up, or being considerate of others, because that's something that you can show them. But at the end of the day, if they don't pick that up, it's like their clothes in their room. If they don't pick that up, then it's a waste of time. And so for me, it's always great when I can, people go, your son is really great with my children. And I go, well, he's been around enough of, and they get, babysitting jobs or housekeeping jobs. Yeah. Why? Because they always leave the house clean, not our house, but everyone else's house. When, and you vacuumed anyway. Does he know what? Does he know what that is? Like, are you sure? But yeah, and so I'm always amazed that they may not do it here, but when they go out there, it's like most things. A friend of mine said, "I'm a better parent in public."
I think we all are.
Yeah, that's right. That come here. As soon as nobody sees, come here. Get in the car.
Advice for new dads.
You will not know everything.
Yeah. I think we're still learning.
Yeah.
We're all still learning.
My advice to dads is don't let your mother-in-law take your baby. My advice to dads are change nappies. My advice to dads are support your wife and understand that she is now becoming a mother. That is a job in itself. Yeah. It's not about, you sat around all the house, where's my food? And also, you made a decision, even though you may not have thought so, to have a child. Your responsibilities changed. Grow the fuck up.
Yeah.
This whole idea of, but I still want to go and hang out with you. You're a father now.
Yeah.
And then what? Your wife wants to do that as well? No. If you don't want to look after the child, don't have children. Because then, we say, well, the problem of these children that are being abused and everything else, and that's not saying anything more, you will not know everything.
Yeah.
But don't be an accidental father where you spend most of your time and go, oh, I didn't know they did this, or my father used to do this. We cannot parent the way our parents parented us, because that time is gone.
Yeah.
We can't.
Oh, we can't.
We can't. The right hand of fellowship. We call it love. They call it child abuse. We cannot parent, and as much as we go, but my parents, people don't care. The law does not care. Yeah. So the idea is always about, you have to learn new tricks. You have to learn to negotiate. Either eat your dinner or you'll go to bed without it. So here's the thing. Yeah. You can have your vegetables and then afterwards you can have ice cream. Or you can have your vegetables and not have ice cream. And if they go, no, it's just, or you can just go to bed. But no.
Behind every good man is a great woman. Do you agree?
Yes. Yeah. I'm not sure who that is. My wife has always been my rock. She's a head of maths at Balmain High. She's Balangi, she's English.
Yeah.
And a lot of people go, why did you marry an English woman? I said, because I didn't want her parents living with me. And she was
I think we're all in the same.
Yeah.
And has she got the same humour now?
No, look, she understands, but no, she's completely different to me, which is what you need in a family. Yeah. She's the logical one. She's the one that I just go, did that money go? No. And she's always, she's the one that knows all the names to all of the soccer fields that my kids play at, and I don't know any of them. And so she goes, go to the thing, go to the thing, and I go, is that the park that had the smashed glass in it? Because I don't know. My kids go, yeah, Dad. No, it's the one with they had the lovely the barbecue. The sake. Yeah. No, I know. That's Tempe. Or sometimes I just go, Bunnings, then where? Bunnings, then where? Frederick Street, then where? She shakes her head. But yeah, we've been married. I've known her. We first got together 87, and we've been married 31 years now.
Beautiful. Yeah. Congrats.
I've only seen her twice. The secret to a good marriage. I can barely remember what she looks like.
Describe your upbringing. Was it the same as all the other Polynesians growing up in the South Side?
Yeah, look, we had...
specifically, Mangin.
Yeah, Bonjour. We had, I had 2 sisters and 2 other brothers. 6 of us. 3, yeah. 1, 2, 3, kind of. We had a good upbringing. Well, we weren't rich. We went from Ponsonby through to Mangere. We were one of the foundation families to start the PIC Mangere. And it was tough. My father was very much, I work 62 hours a day, 71 pair of pants. All I want is for the food to be on, this old school, Fala Paloli. My mother's from Lumuenga, Hawaii. And so she was the MacGyver. My mother could fix it because she used to work at Thorn EMI.
Oh,
so,
there you go.
Yeah. So she just goes, Mum, the television's on the Playskool. Go get me some foil. I wrap the foil around the tubes and that. There you go. Yeah. So, I went to Mangere College. We all were in, we had a big choir at Mangere, about 46 voices, which made up of, I think there was like 5 families all turned up and sang. So we had a good childhood. I grew up in my adolescent years was in the 70s, so it was great. Music was great. Everything was sort of, everybody was being discovered. We're going into the disco era, so the music was transforming from one to the other. Now that's what I lament the fact that we've lost melody in our music. I don't listen to contemporary music. I listen to all the old school stuff, which still resonate even now. And the great thing is that my children appreciate that music as well. So they will play Billy Joel or Elton John or James Taylor or the Eagles. They'll play Sly and the Family Stone. They'll play James Brown. And they will know the different songs and stuff. And I'm always pleased when they'll turn it on. They'll play Starlight Vocal Band, gonna find my baby, because as I said, music is music. You can love reggae, you can love, opera, and when people say children, don't love this particular music, and I go, that's rubbish. That's like you're saying, that's like vegetables. If you don't serve it, they won't eat it. So, the idea is that, you've got to give them a well-rounded education.
Person living or deceased that you would like to have dinner with, and why? And what would you ask there?
Person living or deceased that I think I would love. My father passed away in '84. He was like 62.
Still young.
Throat cancer. Too much smoking. I would love for him to be around because I would love for him to see his children, his grandchildren.
Your blessings.
And also because he was an orator. So, and I think I took that on as far as the European world was concerned, being somebody who stood on a soapbox and spoke his mind and sometimes took the flak, because I do that all the time when it comes to injustices or you see not enough representation. But I think it is. I would love for my father to be alive, to see my children. I think he would have loved them, to see where we are and what we're doing now. Because my mother, she's 91.
Wow.
And she spent more time being a widow than she did being married, which is always sad. But, she has her family around her and she, which is lovely. But I would have loved for my father to be still alive.
That would be good. Me too.
Yeah.
League or rugby?
Rugby. Stop it. Rugby. Because they play that in heaven.
So
and every
true,
now and
so
again,
true.
Like the Wallabies won the Bledisloe the game yesterday. They didn't win the cup. They're still sipping out of saucers. But it's great. Every dog has his day, and I saw all them celebrating. It's great because I love Dave Rennie. I think he's going to be great. And if they had lost, the knives would have been out. And as he said, we're only a week into a 4-year program. So, but no, always been I remember sitting in the middle of the night with my father and my brothers and that, watching a grainy black and white television show. From Carter Farm Park. Early in the morning watching the All Blacks playing England, and my biggest my All Black heroes were Brian Williams and Grant Batty and all of those earlier guys.
Legends.
And they've continued it on. Michael Jones, Inga Tuigamala, all of those guys. And then, but yeah, rugby is always, people say, what's your perfect day? My perfect day is, a cup of tea, something to eat.
Yeah.
And the All Blacks playing anyone in the world. And nobody in the house.
Yeah. Did your kids ever play rugby or rugby league?
My son Tana played rugby league.
Yeah.
But my boys are more musical than anything else.
Yeah,
my daughters are the sporting ones.
The sporting.
So my daughter Jessie, I support her, and she used to play representative touch, but then she had to make a choice, touch or netball. So she for the last couple of seasons played under 23 GWS Fury. So
that's a brutal sport. Netball.
That's right.
You
no,
think it's
topsy.
just throwing, catching? No.
Yeah, that's right. So so that's that's it in a nutshell, really.
Yeah. Something you would change if you could do better for the world.
What would I change?
Or what would you improve on?
Well, I think there are lots of things that you want to be able to change. I want to be able to change this attitude that poor people don't contribute. This whole idea when people talk about we want to open the economy, we want to do this and we want to do that. I understand that, especially in this COVID, because they're saying businesses are falling over. We understand that, but what you're saying is I'm quite happy to sacrifice those people who have to go to work on the factory floor in that.
Yeah.
Because we want to be able to make this stuff. We're not sure if you'll catch it, but we're quite willing to risk you.
Risky.
Yeah. Because that's the puppeteers talking. But if it comes down to something that I would like to change, I would like to be able to change my industry so that they can see color. Because I always say that you can tell the idea or the kaupapa of a nation by watching their television. Go to New Zealand, there's a rainbow of faces. Indians, Samoan, Tongan, Asian, and they all present shows, they all run shows, they all are intelligent conversationalists. Here, you have to go to the specialist SBS.
Oh, world movies.
Yeah. Here, it's just like, and I think it's just ridiculous. And that's the problem. I keep raging because I say you need to color with more than just your whites. Use your entire palette. And it's always a discovery when all of a sudden, they've chosen this and they've chosen that.
Yeah.
So we're not here to make up the numbers. I don't know how many times I told you this. But they keep saying, Australia, we're such a diverse nation. You're not. You're not. We're not a racist. Yes, you are. You are. Look at your indigenous people. Look at your First Nation. That's the first thing you have to do. How do you treat them? You put them on reserves. You put them out there so you don't see them, and then you blame them because they've gone rogue. That's your fault because you've taken their land. You've taken them off because you thought you knew better, and you did it. And then once that experiment fell in your face, got slapped back, they go, right, okay, they're just anarchists. They just want to cause trouble. We're just going to create this.
Wasn't our fault.
They drink a lot and they do this and they do that. No, they're beautiful people who were self-sufficient until you sons of bitches came along, until Cookie comes along, and people go, oh my gosh, he discovered. It's not discovery if people are standing there going, just park it over here, bro. The Endeavour, that's too shallow. Go over that side. And that's just, that's white privilege right there.
And he was delicious.
Yeah. Come to dinner. What are we having? White meat.
Any regrets?
I have lots of regrets. And I think training here is just like, don't eat that. Look, I think the thing is that you have to accept that sometimes you make decisions that you will end up regretting down the track. And I'm a grown man, so I have to wear that stuff. I have lots of regrets, but if you live in your regrets, you will never go forward. There's the old saying of, the best time to grow a tree is 20 years ago. The next best time is now.
Yeah.
And so I always look at my opportunities going, I need to be a better man, tomorrow. we can't change our history, but we can change the way we start each day and how we finish each day. And I think for me, as I get older, I realize that the goalposts are actually getting closer. They're not getting further away. Like, when you're young, you just go, I can't reach that goal. You realize really quickly that you're not counting up, you're counting down. And so for me, it's not about going what I've got left, it's what I've had. I've got to celebrate what I've had and go, what do I want to do now? And how do I go about doing that? And so I'm quite prepared, to participate. I always say that it takes a village to raise a child, and you have to be ready to participate in somebody else's life. So I'm quite prepared to tell your child to get down from that tree, because I'd much rather rather a parent go, hey, don't talk to my child like that, than call an ambulance.
Yeah.
But society's now going, oh, look at that. I can't because that's not good. Bullshit. Be an adult, for goodness sake. Because they go, you come there lying there, broken leg, and as a parent, I go, why didn't anyone say, oh, because we didn't? No, I don't live by that. Yeah. I will crash somebody else's party if I think it's wrong, or if I've got an opinion. If I want to say something, I'll say something.
Yeah.
But I've learned over the years to be informed. Don't say something because it's emotional. Don't say something because there are many times I've had my eyes bitten off. What did you say? Because he's like, you. No, because this. Oh, well.
Sorry.
Yeah. And so you really, get informed. Knowledge is power. Get informed.
So you're in the CSP page, and you're one of the role models for us, and we've got this thing that we check in on the page. Can you just talk about that?
Oh, look, I think what I find now is that Sunday comes around really quickly.
Yeah.
Now we got because we chat on our messenger, just how everyone is, or what everyone's doing, or did they see this, or for me, my mower broke down. Does anyone have a mower?
Right.
And for me, it's great because we gauge. Sometimes we gauge how people are or what people are doing. But most importantly, I mean, this week when Daniel, who organises how many people go into different classes because of COVID, was saying, how we were getting some of them from the 7 o'clock, so we're pulling out. I felt like I needed to rage a little bit and just say, listen, we are blessed to have this place. We don't pay for this place. We are blessed to have this place. We're blessed to have brothers around us who care enough about us to help us train. And it's not about the training. It's not about lifting weights. It's about.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
A lot of it has to do with mental health. A lot of it has to do with seeing brown faces and checking in with each other. And so that's what I love about the page is simply about just, you can see somebody doing something, you can, or there's, fresh food going this way, let's go here, And I think that's, it's great to have that because we get a tone of how people are. And also we call out people who we haven't seen because we're concerned about them. Where are you? What are you up to? What are you doing?
So good. Best life lesson. Probably got a few.
Yeah, look, I've had, the old Quincy Jones saying of, don't let your mouth write a check that your body can't cash.
That's so true.
That's so true. Going, I can do that, or I can't do it then. Oh, okay. There's nothing like public humiliation to shut your mouth. Look, I think for me the best life lesson is to lead by example. Is to always lead by example. It's always that thing of, we have to understand as parents that children don't learn, they imitate. And the good things that you see in your child is from you. The bad things from your wife.
You hear that? It's from the wife.
But it's a thing of just going, if you wonder why your child does this, it's because of you.
Yeah.
And if you don't like it, it's because of you. And so for me, the reason why I turn up is because at least I want them to see I'm making an effort, even now. Because I'm angry I'm angry because our Polynesians think that when they get older, they get type 2 diabetes. No, they don't. You got to eat properly. That's the thing about it.
Yeah.
You just got to eat properly, you know, and you got to look after yourself. And so, yeah, look, I think that's one of the biggest life lessons I've learned is that I've got to take responsibility for my actions. Too many times you go, oh, because the teacher doesn't like me, that's why I failed. They're like, no, you drive your own canoe.
Yeah.
You know, so you've got to take responsibility. And you know, how do you stop things from blowing out of proportion? Put up your hand. Sorry, that was me. That was my fault.
Yeah.
I should have done better, and I will do better. And people will go, okay. You know, it's like I always say to people, it's like if you don't want to get hit with that tackle, take their running room away. You know, don't let it linger and linger and linger. Just, why did you say anything then? You know, whereas it happened right here. This is how far away I am from it. Sorry, it was my fault.
Yeah.
Right? The hit is not going to hurt that much.
That's right.
But sometimes we just go, oh, we lie, and we get further away, and then all of a sudden, 2 weeks, they find out, so it was you. And you get smashed.
Your end goal. I know you're already producing, directing.
Yeah, look, I
what's
think
your writing.
all of that sort of is, you know, is part and parcel of the journey. You know, I always tell kids, measure your successes in inches, and they say, why is that? It's just because it's a phrase that I coined because my son, who's now running, you know, this cafe in there, when he was 16, he was a self-harmer. You know, he was diagnosed with depression and and every day we would just bang heads because you know, I was alpha male, I was old school. Get up, stop being such an asshole. You just, you know, my wife goes, it's a disease. And I went, no, it isn't. He's just lazy. You know, that's my dad talking, and I had to learn through that process. But you know, every day we would listen at his door and we could hear him breathing, inches. He would get up in the morning, inches. He would say good morning, he would eat something, inches. That was the success, you know? And slowly those inches got bigger and bigger and bigger. And you realize that, you know, it doesn't matter how much you think that you run the place. At the end of the day, if my child isn't a better man, then my entire life was never a success. Because that's who's going to carry my father's name. That's all it is. You know, my job is not to be famous. My job is to make sure that you can carry my father's name. And your job is to make sure that you can carry your granddad's name, and so on and so on and so on. That's because that's all we can leave in this world.
That's so true. Did you ever go down to Mangere Bridge, Townsend on Sunday? To get mussels, Hong Kong bakery. That's well, still there.
My cousin used to run a restaurant down there. My cousin Francis used to run a restaurant, but down there was like, you know, that little hidden suburb we were trying to pretend not to be from South Auckland. Mangere Bridge. But that's great, you know, because I used to live in Converse, so we used to run the mountain. We used to train up the mountain, you know, Mangere Mountain. So with Manukau Rovers. So
I actually played for Manukau Rovers back. Dad coached the under 9s to under 11s. It was that old school.
Yeah, that's right. Well, Manukau Rovers was, you know, next to Viscount Primary. That's where I used to go. So I was. I
spent many a time at Viscount shops.
Yeah, that's right. Wonks.
Did you give the money to the car?
Yeah, that's right. I'm happy to say that I was never barred from that shop for stealing. My brother was.
Oh, it's funny. Mangere. One of my childhood memories in Mangere Townsend was actually the Mangere boxing club down there.
Yeah.
We used to do athletics, and that's where we met old Jimmy Powell and Neil.
Jimmy Thunder.
And Neil, his brother, and his younger brother Chris, and we used to train, and boy.
Well, we used to, you know, at the Townsend, Mangere Town Centre, we used to gig up at the Cordova Lounge. There was a lounge up the top there.
Yeah.
That's where Artie J used to have residency for the first time. So we used to gig and do. But it's all changed now over there. You know, beautiful. I go there every now to go to the markets and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, markets all over the place.
Beautiful. Well, time's up, and It's been a privilege and an honour to interview the also Jay Laga'aia or Manila, the thriller from Manila. And just one more question, folder or a scruncher?
I use a bandana sleeve.
It's smoother. It's smoother.
Yeah, because they always say, which hand do you use to wipe your ass with? Which hand, left or right?
Oh, it's that left.
Yeah, I use toilet paper. So.
You got me on that one. So, polos and polets, what's in your mouth? And ciao for now.
Peace.